I've said this before, but in a certain real sense, doing these videos and posting them on YouTube has ruined my life. In a certain way, my brother died because I was so preoccupied in doing my videos and recording my thoughts that I didn't, and my studies, that I didn't see that he was sick. Preoccupied with myself. You know, I don't watch other people's videos, but yesterday I watched somebody's video and I said, wow, what a narcissistic experience that man is. And then I realized, what am I doing? I'm doing the same thing. It's a narcissistic experience, looking in the mirror here. Solipsistic. Onanistic. Masturbation in itself. Experiencing pleasure by looking at the self and doing something for the self. And then putting it public. And when my brother was sick, I used to go and see if anybody watched my videos. And I've put a lot on. I have 906, I think, that are public, plus 100 more that are private and unlisted. Then I have some other channel that can't even get, the blog spot. I have over 200 there. Over the past years, so I have now I have a record of all this, and that's what I wanted, a record. Because I have no idea what I said. And I can't write these things down. I don't think they should be written down. And that's part of what I've been studying recently. In a certain sense, I feel that the oral Torah was for Shavuos. And then the kind of like the written Torah is on Yom Kippurim, Ha Kippurim. It becomes oral Torah because in a certain way the luchos were broken. And the letters flew away. So there's no written record. And always remember, the oral Torah comes first. And the oral Torah has to do with man. And there are two sets. Last night in the shir, I said, with the man I study with, genius man. I listen every week now. I used to go there. Talmudic. I suggested that Shavuos really represents Yom Shivishi, seventh day. And they don't get the seventh day. They only see it as Shabbat. But I see that there's a seventh day after the 6 days. And that's the continuation of the name Elohim. Because the 6 days come from Elohim. And there's a seventh from Elohim, but then there's a Shabbat with Yud He Vav He. Again, this is just so that I refresh. And that's the two of everything. So in a certain sense, this morning when I put on tefillin, I realized, I'm putting it on. This is like from Yom Shivishi, from the 7th day. And that's why we don't put tefillin on Shabbat, because it's superseded by Shabbat. And that's why we have 3 oaths. The oath of tefillin, the oath of Shabbat, and the oath of bris. Bris is permanent, and the other 2 separate. So the oath of tefillin is of the 6 days of creation. And then there's a 7th day. And that's why they even say, oh, could you put tefillin on Shabbat? Theoretically, you could. But you don't, because it's superseded by Shabbat. And I think the word is like doka. It's pushed away. So preoccupied with this, to put it down so I don't forget it. Why? And that's another spiritual thing. Each day is its own spiritual elevation. Be very careful even what you think or read or digest or listen to, because it's going to affect your whole life. I wake up today and my body it's virtually nothing like yesterday. The combination of the thousands of muscles and glands and things in the body is a different combination today. So when I go out and play tennis, I'm going to feel something different, even though I've played for 67 years. Each day is a new day. That's what's beautiful. And that's why I've been perpetuated to put on new videos every day. Because it's nothing like yesterday. And that's why I forget yesterday. And that's what you're supposed to do. And that's why I was never a great fan of Elie Wiesel, who said, "You shall never forget." Of course you forget. The person that existed yesterday doesn't exist today. Completely forget. You're new. In a certain sense, the Torah you get every day. When you read, you bring your new self to your text. That's what texts are all about. The reader determines the text. The reader, as the oral Torah person, determines the text and the meaning of the text, depending on him. So when I said, and the man genius told me I'm wrong, I'm not wrong. There's a level of the 7th day, and then there's a level of Shabbat, and that's for me. For me, the level of the 7th day is Malkus, and the level of Shabbat is Bina. The level of the 7th day is Eretz, so to speak, and the level of Shabbat is Adamah. There are 2 levels in that 7th day. That's what makes it so beautiful. So in a certain sense, I was always, I'd say, well, I'm not really a Shabbat observer, but I'm a 7th day observer. And so and in a certain sense, I'm a 7th day observer because tefillin was my mitzvah, and is my mitzvah. And I'm from the Elohim left arm of the tefillin, from the din level. And that din level in a certain sense is higher. And look at me looking at myself, talking to myself. And so what doesn't this reflect psychosexually in what my level of experiences psychosexually, rejecting, masochistically, deriving pleasure from pain, from negation, in a primal masochism, to make everything wrong. And isn't that what the death drive is? Always remember that Atzmut, the word Atzmut, which means essence. There's an Atzmut Ein Sof. Atzmut Ein Sof. And then when you see it, it's 606, which is the level of essence. 606 for Atzmut. And that's, by the way, the name Ruth in the Bible, Ruth, Resh Vav Tov, which we will be reading on Shavuos. This essence level of Ruth, Atzmut, that's a tree of death. Atz, Ayin, Zadek, Mavet, Mem Vav Tov. Atzmut is Eitz Mavet, tree of death, the death instinct, the negation. That's why the Atzmut is an Ein Sof, because it's negated. Everything is negated. And here I am, engrossed in a positive thinking society, where people get on and say they have a positive attitude. You know? So, no is higher than the yes. No. Ein. La. In Arabic. Lamed. Ayin. Ahmed Aleph. And so, of course, something's going to be wrong. I'm walking around in Never Never Land. I think I see things correctly. And all I do is get no. Well, no to the no. And that's the double negative. And here I am. Alone with myself. Deriving pleasure from that. If that's what you want, then watch these. I don't suggest this for anyone. This is a certain level of existence and being that's obviously been derived from my soul and my levels in my body. I have to pursue this path. Pursue your own path. I see things completely differently. Solipsistically. Masochistically. Ruination of life. Lee. So I have plenty of things. Because each time I open up the Torah, I bring me to the text. I bring my internal experience to the text. This has no relation to you. You bring your own when you sit down. So may I suggest to you, these ideas that I'm actually recording are for me. So I remember, in a certain sense, yesterday. In a real sense, it's unimportant, because you should forget. Forgetting is higher than remembrance. But who can do that? You want me to comment? It's a perpetuation of the materialism of the world that keeps remembrance. Valentine's Day, Christmas, New Year, Mother's Day, only ways to pick your pocket. Pick your pocket day. People in the building here put up a Christmas tree. They took it down on the 4th of January. I called them up. I don't care about Christmas trees. Believe me. You know, I'm Jewish. I said, why'd you take it down before the 6th? Oh, after Christmas, we always take it down. You know why they always take it down after Christmas or after the 1st of New Year? It's what I call a tipping tree. That's not a Christmas tree. The people in the building here only put up that tree so they put it up a couple of weeks before Christmas to remind you to give Christmas presents, tips. So that wasn't a Christmas tree that's supposed to be up for a certain number of days and, quite frankly, never taken down before the 6th. Some people even keep it up till February 2nd. It's a tipping tree. And that's what we have on everything. I was watching a video last night on YouTube. Some video, some like mystical video gets interrupted by ads in the middle of the video. All I am is a fool here. I'm only a fool on a platform that's only interested in money. Only interested in manipulating your mind. Well, so I'm still doing them. You can hear from my voice. I'm still doing them. I'm still putting them on. I'm putting this on right now. But in the final sense, yesterday I did 2 videos. I did a video and it stopped. I'm going to put it on later. It stops at 5 minutes. The thing got broken, the machine. It was a great video. I had some great stuff after it. I completely forget it because I was in improvisation. Then I wrote a great song last night, and I record them. I forgot to record it. I lost it. I don't remember. Because it's bird song. And this is bird song. This is tweeting of birds. And birds in this domain, in this level, are angels. So I'm not making myself limited. Tweeting of birds is a very holy thing. And I record it. Otherwise it's lost, and I don't remember what I said. I don't remember what I said 15 minutes ago here. And what I started saying in this video is different than what I finish. And I do check how many minutes people watch. And they don't watch the whole thing. And that's purposely why I make the videos long. Everybody has this 3-minute now thing. After 3 minutes, they can't watch. So I put the deep stuff at the end. Because like everything else, I have to get through the limited the blockages and limitations. It's the same thing with warming up in a tennis match or when you play music. After you get into the thing, it's different. Just like now. This is a whole different level. There are different levels. So you start off in the physical level. Osea world, then you go to Yetzirah world, and maybe Berea world, and maybe Yetzirah world, and maybe Adam Kadmon world, and maybe you touch your Yehida, and then maybe get to the Atzmuts of that level, and that's the tree of death.